Welcome to the Ministry Chick Network podcast. Hi, I'm Melissa Mashburn, and I just wanted to encourage you. The calling is real, but so are the hard days, the budget conversations, and the difficult relationships, and the seasons where you just wonder if any of this is actually working. This show exists for the woman in ministry who's in it for the long haul and needs someone in her corner who gets it. Today, I'm joined by Lori Stansbury, a ministry leader and people developer with more than 40 years of experience showing up, staying grounded, and leading through seasons that would have taken many people out. So let's get started. Well, hey, Lori, I am so glad that you've decided to join us today. I am absolutely looking forward to digging into this conversation. We have a map of where we think we want to go with this conversation, but at the same time, we keep open hands and open hearts. And so, thank you for going on this ride with us today. I would love to give people a chance that are meeting you for the very first time to just get to know you a little bit outside of your official bio and all
Mhm.
the things, but share just a little bit about yourself, your family, your ministry journey, and what you're doing today.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm Lori Stansbury and I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. I've been here about 30 years, but I did grow up in Iowa, trekked over here, and I've been married 28 years. I have a very unique family. We have 12 kids and 10 grandkids that call us Gigi and grandstands.
Oh,
But I didn't have kids of my own. So I have a bonus daughter. We adopted twins, and then we have these other spiritual kids that have become a part of our family, and so have their
oh,
spouses.
oh,
I have been in leadership over 40 years, 25 of those at a mega church Crossroads in Cincinnati. And I worked in various ministries over my time there, kids ministry, first impressions. I was an executive pastor at our main site for a while. And then I ended that part of my career as a ministry director over a lot of the ministries there. And in the last few years, I have started my own life coaching business and have semi retired from my work at Crossroads, but I'm still a pastor as a volunteer there.
I love it. I love it. Well, I love that you said this also. You've self-described yourself as a guide. I love that. And specifically, you say a steady presence for people navigating growth in real life. For the woman who is listening, who has been that for everyone around her, but hasn't had that for herself, what do you want her to know today?
I would say that taking care of yourself too is just as important as taking care of everyone else. And I like to think of it as like on the planes when they tell you have to put your oxygen mask on
Yeah.
first. I feel like that's super important for us. And in ministry, we forget that a lot. We're
Yeah.
trying to take care of our staff, and then we're trying to take care of the people in our community and our family. And a lot of times we are dead last in
Mm,
that. And I feel like you can't pour more out when there's nothing left in the vial. And so, where you can take care of yourself, it's important. And I don't know about any other churches out there or ministries, but for the ministry I worked in, no one's going to do that for you. You
yeah.
have to do that for yourself. And so, I think of all of us like a plant. We're either growing or dying slowly. And if you
Mm.
look at any of your plants, whether you're good at it or not, taking care of them, you can
Not
tell
good
if
at it.
they need something or if they're thriving, and, I think we just have to pay attention to that. So, do we need rest? Do we need new
Right.
learning? Do we need someone to come alongside us and
Yeah.
encouraging us like a mentor? I think it's really important for us to think about that and to have good rhythms. And
Yeah.
I would say that's one of the things that helped me last a long time in ministry, was for sure to spend daily time with God. That came before everything else. But even setting up weekly, monthly, yearly rhythms, I also love taking a prayer retreat 2 to 4 times a year where I would
Oh,
just go away for like 24 to 48 hours
yeah.
alone with God. I oftentimes had my own agenda, but usually God had something else he wanted to show me during that, and I would just spend that time collecting and hearing what God had for me, and it refreshed me for the next season.
I love that. An organization I worked with when I was in Louisville, Kentucky had quarterly desert days where you could
Ooh.
take 8 hours of your work time and go someplace just to have like this one-on-one time with God or
Yeah.
whatever. And I remember I went to this is Kentucky, so we had forests, right? I'm in South Texas. We don't have that now, but I remember going to this forest that actually I went to as a child. So it was kind of a full circle moment to kind of go back to this place that I had visited in my childhood and sit there and just seek God. And I just remember it was so different than what I would have expected, but it was also so incredibly refreshing. I had
Mhm.
an agenda. I didn't do anything that was on my agenda. I literally just sat and watched the wind through the trees and talked to God and
Yeah.
prayed and I had a journal. So I love that you're saying this is something that she can do for herself.
Mhm.
Um which leads me to my next question. 40 years is a long time
Yes.
to stay in anything.
Yeah.
So for the woman in ministry right now who is asking herself, do I have what it takes to stay in this for the long haul, to
Mhm.
keep going? What have your hardest seasons taught you that actually keeps you standing?
Well, I would say you have to rely on God. I mean, that sounds like a pat easy answer, but there is no way that you could do it on your own. And you're not alone. Like a lot of times we can get in our own heads and think that we have to figure this out on our own,
Mhm.
and we don't. So having that mindset and focus that you're going to be able to do it with God's help, I think is important. I also think having some things in place that help you to keep going are important. So, one of the things our staff did for quite a while, and now it's just people who choose to do it on their own, is take 2 weeks off in a row of vacation a year. I
Mm,
highly recommend it. Hopefully,
yeah,
your ministry will let you do that. But the first week, you decompress. And if you go right back to work, you have not rested.
right.
And so you can take other vacations throughout the year, but I would definitely find a 2 week period where you can just check out. It also makes sure you remember that you're not irreplaceable,
Mm,
that there are people that can do things. You can give a project to somebody that
yeah.
they've never done before and see how they do while you're gone. But it just gives opportunity for other people. I think that you should pay attention to your gifts and your strengths, and you should be working in a role where you get to use those on a regular basis. I know lots of us have been in roles where it isn't our top giftedness and we live through a role, but you're
Yeah.
going to wear out much faster if
Yep.
you're in that type of a role than
Yeah.
if you look for opportunities. And sometimes I've moved up or down the chain of command for that reason because that
Yep.
role was more important for me having staying power. I also think you should keep learning new things, whether that's podcasts, conferences, books that you're reading. I'm always reading a new book just because I want to learn
Mhm.
something new. Sometimes it's a book just to relax me, but a lot of times, it's a leadership book.
Yeah.
Um, I think that keeps us fresh, trying to
Mhm.
do new things. And I'm not somebody who like to stay in the same role for a long time. Some people can do that,
Yeah.
but I have a little 7-year itch, and so about every 7 years, I needed to switch departments completely or
Yeah.
start something new. I'm an activator and strengths finder, so it's kind of a normal thing for me to be able to do
Yeah.
that, and that kept me fresh.
I love that you just said that because I know I'm wired that way as well, Lori. So I'm the starter. I will start or I'll come in and fix, but I'm not the long haul in
Yeah,
one
you don't want
space.
us maintaining something.
No, and honestly, it starts to feel like you die inside a little bit, but
Yeah.
I always thought something was wrong with me. Like,
Yeah.
why does God keep, like, calling me to do something? I get it fixed and all of that, and it wasn't until, like, the second time that I had a big major shift that I was like, "Wait a minute, this is actually part of my gifting and
Yeah.
how he wired me," and, it just gives me more opportunity to work in my giftedness, but then also set somebody else up to be successful in it that couldn't do
Sure.
that, but
Yeah.
can run it in the
Yes.
long haul.
And keep
And so
improving and grow it.
yeah.
Mhm.
So for anyone listening or watching right now and you're going, "Oh my gosh, that's me." You're not alone.
Yeah.
As Lori said, it's not it doesn't have to be a 7-year itch. It
Mm-mm.
can be just this is how God wired you. as an activator or somebody that can go in and see the problems, fix it, set up systems and structure and all that other stuff, and then hand it off,
Yeah,
right?
and if those are your skills, you will always have a job. Like, don't worry
Yeah.
about the fact that you fixed something and now what will there be next? There's always something to start,
Yes.
fix, develop.
Yes. Well, and I would also add to that, and I know that you've seen it because you've been around it. I can, we haven't even talked about it, but I'm sure you have. Um, Sometimes we get nervous and then we start holding on to it because we're like, I don't know what's next, but I
Yeah,
know that this isn't it, but I need to hold on to this because this is steady and reliable and all those
yeah,
things, right? When you finally embrace that this is part of your wiring and part of your gifting, you understand you're just a vessel.
mhm,
So I plant, I water, God makes it grow. So
yeah,
I'm doing something in the process, but I know well enough and I know my God well enough to know he doesn't keep me there
right,
for the 40-year plan in this one spot or whatever. So don't be afraid that, okay, I always looked at those opportunities as finding my replacement.
mhm, yes, and
I
that
want to work myself out of a job, and people were like, "That doesn't make any sense."
it
But it
does.
did.
I mean, that's part of what we're supposed to do in leaving a legacy is to keep
Yeah.
developing people with us. I
Yeah.
like to, I don't know if you know Doctor Dolittle, the push me, pull me. Do you remember that
Oh,
animal?
yeah. Yeah.
I always think that you should always be pushing somebody to do something next that you're gonna walk away from, and you should always be being
Mm.
pulled by somebody. So have a mentor, have somebody with you, and always have both of those things going on. That is also, I think, gonna keep you fresh.
Ah, love it. We call that in Ministry Chick Network, we call that the relay race, where you're reaching forward and learning
Mhm,
from something from somebody a little bit further along, but you're also reaching back and sharing what
mhm.
you're learning with somebody else. You're taking it and applying it in the context of you're gonna take my role, so
Yeah.
come along and let's get going so you can take it, and then where am I going? Where is God gonna be leading me to next?
I like
So
that analogy because it talks about movement. It's not
yeah,
stopping. There's
yeah.
always movement in a race.
Yeah, there is always movement, and I think that's what's so great about what you said with the books and podcast and learning and different things like that. Well, I want to kind of shift a little bit because you've walked through some serious illness yourself and
Yeah.
also walked alongside others through it as well. For the woman who has been through a hard season and is trying to figure out who she is as a leader on the other side of it, whether it's her,
Yeah.
a family member, or whatever. What do you wish that she knew?
Um, I would say if you've been through a hard season, it could be illness, but it could be other things. A big question that we always find ourselves asking a lot is why? Um, and what am I supposed to learn from this? What did I do wrong? I mean, you can drive yourself nuts going through that when you're in that season. And I've just found we've had 10 years of all kinds of things. I had breast cancer, knees replaced. My husband's had cancer 3 times. It's been a lot. And through all of it, I've still done a lot of ministry and come out on the other end, I feel like really at peace. And part of that is I did after a while stop asking why, and I actually started asking in each season, what is it that you're trying to show me in this season? So,
Mhm.
just as an example, 10 years ago, when I had literally just taken the role as executive pastor at our main site, I was within a month of that role. I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And within a few weeks, my husband was diagnosed with cancer on his nose and had to have part of his nose removed and reconstructed, and we literally couldn't do anything. Like, I couldn't raise my arms, he couldn't bend over. We had people taking care of us, doing
Yeah.
everything, and in that season, I was frustrated with not being able to do as much work as I wanted to do, but we realized that God was showing us how much he loved us through
Yeah.
the gifts and the caring that other people did that we would never have experienced if we hadn't been through that.
Yeah.
And that has helped in many of the other seasons we've been through in knowing God's got us, he loves us, he uses other people alongside. But I think
Um,
just trying to figure out what in that season. I've spent some time studying people in the Bible in their desert seasons. Not all of them are literal deserts, but there's plenty of desert experiences
Yeah.
where God was preparing them for something or letting them mature in something or just giving them space to rest in something before a bigger season came. And it's given me some comfort and peace in that.
Mm, that's so good. And um I thank you first, thank you for sharing and
Yeah.
being transparent about that. I chuckled, but I wasn't laughing at you, but I chuckled because when you're talking about you and your husband, you literally can't do anything. Because I'm like, I get it. I completely understand that, and can even say when the difficulty comes, it doesn't knock you out,
No.
right? It doesn't, it just gives you an opportunity to kind of redirect, refocus, kind of recenter.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget, because for anybody that's listening right now that doesn't know, in March of 2026, I had a craniotomy, I had a brain tumor. It's removed, it's gone. Praise Jesus, hallelujah. But
Yes.
I'm still in recovery and I'm still building stamina and stuff like that, and I'll never forget, it's been about 6 months now from the time I was diagnosed to where we are today, and
Mhm.
it takes a toll.
It
It
does.
takes a toll on you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all those things, but it's also incredibly remarkable the way God still uses that,
Mhm.
um, and I'll never forget one of my friends. I was talking to her about everything that was going on, and she's like, "Melissa, you are so good about jumping in and helping everybody, and your right hand is always reaching out. Let me pull you up. Let me help you. Let me connect you." All
Yeah.
these things. She said, "I wonder if God's trying to strengthen your left hand so that you can receive help from others." And I was like, "That's not nice. That is not nice." And oh, and it was a passing comment, Lori, and it has literally, I'm still wrestling with it, and there was
Yeah.
so much in that that I can see
Mhm.
now how much more grateful I am for meals and different things, like, people
Yeah.
come, my best friends coming over for 3 weeks, staggering their
Yeah.
time off to come sit with me because I couldn't be alone for the first 3 weeks, and wash my hair and clean my dog or clean my windows. They cleaned my windows and disinfected my house, and it was so humbling
It
and
is.
so incredibly hard as the get it done person everybody comes to for
Yeah.
the things to receive that. But ministries didn't stop in that time.
Yeah.
And there were so many opportunities and still so many opportunities that are happening. It just looks a little different.
It
Does that make
does.
sense?
It does, yeah. I also think that um, God loves us so much and we can only receive so much of it, and the more you put yourself in a place to receive like that, the more you can feel God's love coming in. It's
Wow.
almost like we haven't even opened ourselves up enough to receive that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you said earlier you can't pour from an empty cup. You
Mm-mm.
can't. And if you are constantly the one with the right hand out and helping and grabbing and pulling and let's go and let me
Mhm.
fix and let's do all these things, me too.
Mhm.
Um, then you're not actually filling
Yeah.
in the way that the be still and know happens,
Yeah.
right? And so there's something to be said for, listen, my husband says this all the time. It used to make me nuts, but now there's a lot of truth in it. Um, God's going to get your attention. You decide whether it's with a teaspoon or a 2x4.
Oh, I like that.
I just unfortunately tend to be the 2x4
Uh-huh.
person, and so I'm learning to be more of a teaspoon girl. So,
Yeah.
um, okay, so let me ask you this. We've talked about some of these seasons where God's plan didn't look anything like your own plan,
Yeah.
including family that looked different than you expected,
Mhm.
um, illnesses, all of these ministry, even for the woman that's listening right now who's holding that same tension. What has holding that tension taught you about leading with peace instead of striving?
Mhm. Well, age definitely helps, I will say. Anybody who's past 40, I think, realizes, like, everything's gonna work out okay or something's gonna change, not,
Yeah.
the world's not gonna end. But I would say wisdom would tell me that I'm not in as much control as I thought I was, and where I can loosen my grip on plans or a path that I thought I was moving, I
Yeah.
think, I do better. I ask God for peace a lot and for the Holy Spirit to just take over situations that I'm in, and I really think that that's helpful. But I just have found over time that, trying to navigate further ahead than where God's going usually makes me have to step back. So
Mm.
I've always asked God, can't you just show me who my husband's going to be?
Yes.
Can't you just show me where I'm going to be in 10 years? What do I do in
Yes.
retirement?
Please.
We all ask that.
Yes,
And
we do.
he does have that path, but he's gonna show you a small piece of it, and he's gonna show you a little bit at a time, and I know in the last few years starting my own business, it's even been more clear this way. If I move at God's pace, which is so much slower than my plans and my ambitions,
Right?
he is so clear, and he literally just sends breadcrumbs. Like,
Mm.
I would love to have the bread truck, but he wants to send daily bread, and
Yes.
he wants us to
Ah,
keep asking for it because we're dependent on him and not, "Okay, I got it, thanks. I'm gonna go move over here. I'll come back to you when I
yeah.
need something."
Mm. Mm. Okay, so good. And I 100% want the map, the 10-year plan. Give me the booklet. I will follow it. But guess what? Then it's about us.
Yeah,
And we have control. And I think that's you said a couple of this thing about the bread. I firmly believe that's why it says, give us this day
yeah,
our daily bread so that we know what we need to do
mhm,
today, not 10 years down. Yeah, we like plans and we can map things out or whatever, but today, what is my assignment and what is it that I'm supposed to do?
yeah,
Um, there's a woman listening right now and she's we've talked about it. She's in a hard season. She's probably listening while she's on her commute because that's what we do. We
mhm,
multitask. She's either working out, folding clothes, making lunches or whatever. Um, but she needs one thing, not a list, but just one thing that she can do this week to stay grounded. What
mm.
would you say that is?
Um, well, first I would say you can do this. I would say you've got it. Don't stress, don't fret. And I would say do the things that are going to feed you specifically. So we all know or we can learn what is the way that we connect with God, what is the way that we restore ourselves. And
Yeah.
for me there's a couple of things that work for that. My time reading the Bible and looking at verses that speak to me, whether I'm going through fear, I'm going to look up a verse about fear and I might post it in my kitchen or put it somewhere else. I'm going to listen to worship music that pours back into me and feeds my soul. And I'm gonna look for devotions or things that speak to whatever I'm going through. So there's usually some question, something that God's doing with us, whether we're going through letting go of something or forgiveness or
Yeah.
fear. There are billions of devotions and online things in the Bible app that you could look up and focus on whatever it is that God's trying to speak to you. And I find, because I journal a lot, he tells you multiple times what he wants
Yeah.
you to hear. We're just not always paying attention to it. But if I even go back in my journal, I can see the path
Mm.
that God's been guiding me on to try and help me.
Yeah.
So just look for those things based on what is it that you're struggling with right now? Is it
That's good.
energy? Is it something that you're, trying to process through and try to go get those helps? I would also say if you have a mentor, make sure you're regularly meeting with them or find
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, that's so good.
Mhm.
One of the things that you said was the scriptures and stuff, and I didn't even know that these existed, but they do. So I'm gonna give you a shortcut
Yeah.
because somebody gave it to me when I was diagnosed. They are scripture sticky notes, and I put them up and it was about healing and health and wholeness and God's protection and all these things. And I have them, they're still up all over my house.
Yeah.
There's these little sticky notes all around my house just as reminders. And so those are on Amazon. I don't get anything from that. I
Mhm.
just know that it was a huge blessing for me to kind of keep his word in front of me so
Yeah.
I could see it as we're going through the day. Lori, I am so grateful for you for taking the time to share with us. Where is the best place for people to connect with you?
The best place is probably my website. It's just lauriestansbury.com, and I am on all social media, under Lori Stansbury. You can find me there.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much for being with us today, for sharing your story, and for the encouraging work that you do, and for just giving us the freedom to go, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's been great talking to you.
All right. Well, we will see you next time on the Ministry Chick Network podcast.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Friend, I hope today's conversation with Lori gave you something that you didn't even know that you needed. If you want to connect with Lori, all the links will be in today's show notes. If you are ready for a room that was built for you, not a generic leadership content site, but support specifically created for women in ministry, I would love to invite you to check out the Ministry Chick Network individual membership. It's $45 a month, no contracts, and you can join right now at ministrychick.com. You don't have to lead alone, and we will see you next time on the Ministry Chick Network podcast.